Okay, so I actually have to start with an apology. There's a display component that this plugin uses which broke yesterday. So the code has been fixed, and just as soon as image J2 is updated again, it will be working.
I know you should apologize.
But that's okay, because I really want to talk more conceptually about the process by which we do image analysis. There have been a couple talks already about process and workflow, and that's because it's really important. It impacts the transparency of our methods, the efficiency of our experiments, and ultimately the reproducibility of our results. So I've developed SlideSet, a plugin for ImageJ2, to try to bring the benefits of batch processing and automation to the small and mid-sized data sets that would more typically be approached with an interactive workflow. So what do I mean by interactive and automated image analysis workflows? Well, an interactive workflow is one that has human intervention at each step, opening the image, selecting a region to analyze, running an analysis, and copying the results into a spreadsheet. Everything has some sort of intervention. Right, this is basically the default. If somebody opens ImageJ for the first time, it's probably what they're going to do. But as I'm sure everybody in the room knows, it has some disadvantages. It's very hard to describe exactly what you've done. It's very inefficient. Maybe if you have an army of graduate students working for you, you can pull it off. But really, I think we would all like to put our energy into asking more interesting research questions. And lastly, the more human involvement in the process, the more opportunity to introduce error. So in contrast, in automated workflow, everything is set up front, and then it can run without any further intervention. So instead of a graduate student at each workstation, there's a robot. For image analysis, this usually takes the form of a custom computer program or scripting. We've heard a lot of great platforms for doing that today. We've also heard about a lot of platforms that bring automation without requiring a lot of programming experience. And really, this can go all the way up to a turnkey solution with a microscope, camera, computer, and software all bundled and pre-configured for a particular type of analysis. So clearly, I don't have to convince anybody that there's a lot of benefit to automation. But here's the little inconvenient part. A lot of people use interactive workflows, not automated workflows. This is certainly field dependent. I work in cell biology, so I went through some issues of cell biology journals and just classified the workflows based on whether they were interactive or automated. And at least of the ones I was able to tell what was done, the large majority were interactive. So why is this? I don't think it's because researchers aren't willing to learn how to code. I think it's just a judgment of the balance of costs of doing an interactive versus an automated workflow. An automated workflow is probably going to have higher startup costs, though these would generally be fixed regardless of the size of the data set. Whereas an interactive workflow would have higher iterative costs, which would be proportional to the size of the data set. Now, in the life sciences and in cell biology, most data sets are actually not that big. We get excited about really big data, but most experiments have dozens of images, not tens of thousands. They also use analyses that are relatively simple as just calculating the average pixel value in a region. And then the problem of segmenting a region of interest isn't really trivial. And for a small data set, it may just be simpler to do it by hand. So while we could hope that more people would move towards scripting or other automated solutions, I think given that so many people are using interactive workflows, we have to think about how we can bring the benefits of automation into the interactive workflow. Can we create a hybrid that has the benefits of both? So that's what SlideSet is designed to do. It's a plugin for ImageJ2, so it starts out looking relatively familiar. But instead of opening images one at a time, first we organize them into a table. This is a really simple one, but we can add other things like group labels. There's support for selecting ROIs interactively using the usual ImageJ selection tools. but then they're saved automatically. And SlideSet saves ROIs as SVG files. SVG is a web standard, so it's compatible with a lot of programs. And it's also a good starting point for building figures for publications. We can then run analysis commands that are automatically repeated over each image and each region without having to click through all the menus each time. And then the results come out in a table. And importantly, the results table is linked to the input table. And all the details of the analysis commands that were run are recorded, so we know exactly what we did. So the point of all this isn't to eliminate interactivity, but it's to organize it. We organize our list of images, organize our regions of interest, and save everything so that when we run an analysis command to get results, we know exactly where it came from, and we can go back and look at it. But we also want to be able to mix and match. We want to take the same input data and run a different analysis command. But we also want to be able to take the same command and run it on different data. So this could be swapping out a different set of ROIs to see what the difference is, or swapping out different images, or just using completely different data. So SlideSet has some built-in analysis commands, but it's designed to be able to work with any plugin using the ImageJ2 API. It's the benefit of the parameterized interface. And the only difference is it just has to be able to handle the data type and draw it either from a table cell or from a file. But if that's not built into SlideSet, SlideSet can be extended to handle new data types. So again, I think the goal of SlideSet isn't to be another tool to move people away from interactive analyses towards automation, but given that interactive analyses are so common, to bring automation into that interactive workflow and try to get some of the benefits of both. So I'd like to thank everybody who contributed to this software, and I'd be happy to take any questions.